There's some strong language in Last Orders for Chaz and Dave.
They've toured with the Beatles, opened for Led Zeppelin, and been sampled by the world's leading hip-hop artists. In a career spanning more than 50 years, pretty much the entire history of British pop, they've survived by ignoring passing fashions and doggedly forging a path true to their roots. This is the story of Charles Nicholas Hodges and David Victor Peacock, though you may know them by another name.
Ladies and gentlemen, oh yes, here we go, the greatest bands ever to set foot in London town. Please welcome the legends that are Chaz and
You got a beautiful chin, you got beautiful skin, you got a beautiful smile, you got style.
They're very musical, very talented, and in my view, great artists. They're both amazing musicians. I mean, like really amazing musicians that could play the pants off a lot of people.
You won't stop talking, why don't you give it a rest? You've got more rabbit than sacred.
I'd probably rather see Chaz and Dave play the songs that they've written that I love as much as I'd see anyone.
When I was getting my eyes on you, but I would like to know you've been my heroes too. With your incessant talking, you're becoming a pest. Rabbit, 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 rabbit. Now you've got lovely eyes.
There's a bounce and a joy to it, and that's what people love about them. There's a celebration of life in their music that all of the best music has. They have no idea how much people love them.
Lovely lip, oh lovely lip. Now I don't mind having a chat, but you have to keep. Now you won't stop talking. Why don't you give it a rest?
Chaz and Dave had a string of hits in the 80s and 90s that remain popular to this day. They've kept alive a rich and vibrant tradition of London music, steeped in pubs, clubs and music halls. As they finally call it a day with one last tour, it's time to tell the real story of two musical mavericks who've earned a truly special place in the nation's hearts.
Yeah, bunny, bunny, jabba, jabba, bunny, jabba, rabbit.
There is a need for honesty and a need for good, honest music, and that's what we provide and that's what we do.
We've never been trying to commercialise ourselves out in any special way, any gimmicks or anything, but just like to play.
That'd do, wouldn't it? Done more than that. We're a bit of George Forward. That's that.
Despite the popular image, Chaz and Dave are not actually Cockneys. They both grew up in the working-class suburbs of North London.
Well, my earliest memories are of Kent. I just about remember going down there, and it had really nice but also sad memories because my dad, he committed suicide while we were down there, just the day before I was 3, nobody knows why, and we came back to Edmonton. Into 11 Harton Road with my nan and my granddad and my great-grandfather. My mum playing the piano was important in loads of ways. I knew that she loved playing the piano. She would go out And she'd play all the pubs and the clubs in and around Edmonton, Tottenham. Everybody knew her. And she was a great entertainer, great piano player. I knew if my mum was doing a gig, especially on a weekend, she would come home and she would be happy, and I knew why she would be happy, because she's got some money and tomorrow she can go and put some food on the table. And it's just a lovely thing all round. That's what music means to me, is happiness and getting fed.
Well, I was born in an infamous place called Spike Island. You won't find it on any maps, but that's what it was called. And it was just fantastic. I mean, all the doors would be open and the singing outside, and it's just great. My Uncle Bill, he started me off. He played the banjo and ukulele. They had a band. They used to go out doing gigs. And he used to play in the pub at the corner of my road, which is still there, the Granville. I was a kid outside. I could hear him strumming his banjo. I just thought I'd died and gone to heaven.
Well, when I was just a nipper, about the age of 7, my old father, he brings me home a present. He gets it out the box and he says to me, "Here." Mother said, "Was that a banjo?" He said, "No, it's a guitar."
So is strumming the song, is that accurate?
Yeah, it is accurate. There was a time when I used to be playing, he'd say, "Oh, don't keep doing that. Can't you take it in the other room?" And I know Chaz had that with his older brother, Dave. He used to say, "Keep strumming that, drive me by me." Chaz went through the same thing as me.
I used to spend all night long, I did, banging out some tune, till one of them would say to me, "Take it in the other room." Then my old brother, he'd say, "I wish you'd shut your noise." But then again, see, he never was one of the boys. I don't care what other people say, I'll just carry on strumming.
I just loved it, just sit there strumming it. You might be doing the same chord up for 90 hours, but I just liked it. Just like the physical thing as well, dong dong. I think you've got to have that if you just love it.
I don't care what other people say, I'll just carry on strumming.
But I could keep a party going when I was about 8 or 9. We used to have parties on just at the drop of a hat. Everyone was singing, it sounded all right to me, and to them as well. Just keep strumming away.
By the mid-1950s, Britain had discovered teenagers, and a new sound, skiffle, was sweeping the country. For young lads growing up in the capital, this was a true music revolution.
When I heard Lonnie Donegan, it just bashed me up. When that Rock On the Line came out in '56, Christmas time, and it's just, I love Lonnie Donegan.
Yeah, the rock on the line, it's a mighty good road. Well, the rock on the line is the road to ride. Yeah, the rock on the line is a mighty good road. And if you want to ride it, gotta ride it like a finally get your ticket at the station on the rock on the line.
The whole world, you can't explain that. They were balmy on him, everyone was. Oh, mate, just bashed me up. I loved it so much.
It was because of Lonnie Donegan that I learnt to play the guitar. I love that sound, so I said to my mum, I'd love to play the guitar, and I know it really thrilled her. She said, "If I get a guitar, will you promise to learn to play it?" "Yes, I will."
He was a nuts, Lonnie was. Love him.
Standing by the railroad track, waiting for the freight train to come back. Freight train come back and never made a stop. A lost young floated after ride the night long.
And skiffle was really just a kind of speeded up folk music. It was very basic. But from this skiffle scene came the next generation, because it was something that was very easy for beginners. It was good beginners, entry-level music.
Lost young made a parachute of his own, finest shoe that ever was born.
As soon as you learned 2.5 chords, you were off. You could play a skiffle song.
Never knew which way lost your mind alone.
And nearly all the people who became famous in the 60s, like the Beatles obviously, had their own beginnings in skiffle.
Skiffle was not the only influence on Britain's musical youth. In 1958, Jerry Lee Lewis exploded on the British scene.
He came to the local cinema just down the road from me in Upper Edmonton. I thought, well, I've got to learn to play the piano now. There's no two ways about it. He plays the piano in a way I've never seen or heard before in my life. I thought I can work that out. I thought I'll be playing by weekend. And it took a little bit longer than that.
In 1960, to his mum's great delight, Chaz became a professional musician. A year later, he joined the Outlaws, a successful band who toured with the Beatles.
We were topping the bill, Mike Berry and the Outlaws, and the Beatles were supporting. And the main thing that impressed us was their harmonies and that they all had high voices. I remember thinking, well, their playing ain't as good as the Outlaws, but they can really sing.
Alongside Chaz in the Outlaws was guitarist Ritchie Blackmore, later to find fame with Deep Purple. The Outlaws were managed by one of the first independent producers in the country, legendary innovator Joe Meek.
Lots of English musicians cut their teeth playing with Joe Meek. A slightly strange man by all accounts, very eccentric. He sort of created his own little fantasy world based in this very, very ramshackle homemade studio he had.
It was just like literally knee-deep in bits of tape. It really was. It was just like, it's amazing to me. I loved it.
He helped to popularise, if not invent, lots of techniques that we now take for granted, such as overdubbing and treating sounds and getting special sound effects and so forth.
I learnt so much off Joe Meek. I mean, I can remember we did an instrumental called Swinging Low, the Outlaws. Down, 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 down. And we did about 7 or 8 takes, I suppose, and Joe Meek said, that's it. I thought, well, we ain't got one where we're all playing good in it. He went, don't worry about it. He said, I'll sort that. And I really didn't know what he meant. I didn't know anything about editing at all. Didn't know it existed. Then he showed me, he said, oh, well, you just get the tape like that. Cut that out, that's your bass break there. Anyway, we came back a week later. He said, yeah, I said, play your latest single. He said, this is going to be a hit. And it did, actually. He got in the top 50 anyway.
But for all his skills as a producer, Joe Meek was not a trained musician.
He knew what he wanted. He had a very good commercial ear in his way, but he couldn't play anything and he couldn't sing in tune. And I was pretty good at figuring out what he meant. He would sing his tune. He knew what he meant, but he would be completely out of tune. He'd go off key. And then he would give it to me, this demo, and say, here's my latest song, Chaz. Can you work it out for the boys? Write the chords out and that. I would go home and then try and decipher what he meant, write down the chords and come back and teach the guitar player the melody, and away we'd go.
In 1963, the Outlaws went on camera for Live It Up, a feature film promoting Joe Meek's up-and-coming bands.
I was pretty bored, really, because that day we had been given the chance to go on tour with Jerry Lee Lewis as his backing band. Now, you can imagine me, like 2 years later after I'd seen him, I'm now going to be in his band playing bass for him. And they kept going, oh, we'll do another take. And I thought, we've got to get up there because we've got to have a rehearsal with him. And it just went on and went on and went on. We finally got away and got up and had a 10-minute rehearsal with Jerry Lee.
Thank you very, very much.
I wasn't walking, I was floating. And throughout that tour, the Jerry Lee Lewis tour, because couldn't have been with him at a better time. He weren't on drugs, and he was playing absolutely fantastic, better than he was in the 50s.
Come on over, baby, we got chicken in the bar. Woo, honey, come on over, baby, Jerry's got the food by the home. Yeah, and I ain't baking, I got the whole lot of chicken going on.
And I always quote that Jerry Lee taught me the piano, which he did, but he didn't know he was teaching me the piano. It was just like, I'm watching him and think, hey, yeah, that's how he, little things like all that shaking.
Whole lot of chicken going on.
So I learnt such a lot on that tour, piano playing.
Was it like work?
Nah, not at all. It ain't now. When people go, it's got plenty of work, I say, I don't work, I play the piano. No, it's not work at all.
Chaz's kind of history in music is the part that people never really know about him. He was a jobbing musician at the time when British beat music was coming into its own and was becoming a dominant force globally. And he was there. And also he was there when all of the American rock and rollers were first coming over to the UK and they were needing pickup bands. He's played with nearly everybody.
And now let's rip it up with Gene Vincent.
Saturday night and I just got paid. Fooled by my money, don't try to say. Can't say go, go, have a time. Saturday night and baby, I'm thinking fine.
Gene was great. He had a bit of a drink problem, but we had some fun on the road with Gene. And when he really wanted to put on a good show, he could.
Shake it up and all night, baby.
Chaz and Dave first got to know each other in North London in 1963.
I was thumbing the lift home from my girlfriend's when I was on that tour in 1963. An old schoolmate pulled up to give me a lift home, and it was Brian Juniper. He was in a band, and Dave was his bass player.
And I was in a band called the Rolling Stones. Not that other lot. We hadn't heard of them. We changed our name and thought it was silly. But anyway, Chaz was thumbing the lift home, and that's when we picked him up. He was in the Outlaws then. I think he was 17. We're on stage. I'm coming. Right. Hello, what's happening? Is Chaz on?
Years ago, I was in a band called the Outlaws when I was playing the bass. And one of the most fantastic things I ever did was go on the road as Jerry Lee Lewis's bass player. So this is dedicated to Jerry Lee.
I'd known Dave all the way through the 60s, both bass players. We just kept in touch because we had very similar, if not identical, tastes in music.
We both like the same sort of music. We love that 50s stuff.
If you love me, please don't change. If I can hold you, let me swing.
Also, I used to love Chaz's mum. She used to play the piano and she knew millions of old songs, and it's just like the same sort of things that we used to sing at home. It's sort of identical musical upbringing that we both had.
Well, I think I'm over and you know why. I sure would love the honey, that's no lie. Over when you call my name, you know I'm gonna like a way of playing.
After Gene Vincent went back to the States, Chaz joined an influential British soul band, Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers.
They were my favourite English band at the time. Fantastic sound. I mean, he really knew in the early days how to get a good sound. We were told that the Beatles were going to do a last tour of Europe and they wanted us to support them, which was great. And we went over to Germany as their support band. it was a great experience. And I was learning all the time, like you do. You know, earning good money and great music. So, you know, what more could you want out of life?
In the mid-60s, if you were an aspiring pop star, there was only one place to be.
London was the talent magnet. You know, the best musicians, the best players from all over the British Isles, they were all gravitating towards London.
All the good musicians ended up in London. All of the musicians used to gather in the West End. There were lots of places where we used to gather and go and play in the clubs. If I'd been living where I was born on the Welsh borders, I wonder if I ever would have even picked up a guitar or even made it down to London, you know. So I felt very fortunate being in that scene.
There were an elite of players who were clearly just a cut above the rest. Albert Lee distinguished himself just in terms of the sheer expertise that he developed as a guitarist.
In 1969, Chaz joined Albert Lee, one of Britain's greatest guitarists, in a pioneering rock and country band, Heads, Hands and Feet.
Tell me where I start. My horse and cart. I'm just a country boy at heart.
For Chaz to be in Heads, Hands and Feet says a lot because they're very accomplished musicians. I mean, really. Albert's one of the most incredible guitarists that Britain's produced.
Great guitar player.
It's like a very advanced form of musicality. You've got to really be able to play well, have a really good feel and know your stuff.
I've run into a lot of musicians who say that, you know, we were a big influence, you know. You say, wow, I've got your albums. So, God, they were such great albums and they were ahead of their time, and they were in a lot of ways, I think.
That's not like kind of easy money. That is hard to do it. And so hats off to him for being in there, you know, with him, you know.
Tony Colton was like the driving force, I think, behind it.
Shake, shake your fine tambourine. Oh, mama, you're mine.
He would do like 50 takes sometimes of a vocal, and he would just drive me around the bend. If you haven't got it in 3 takes, it's either wrong or you haven't learnt it. But 3 takes is all you should ever do of anything. Whistle Test, it was a good programme. Everybody says, oh, they all played live, but it didn't. Did the vocals live. Even Albert's guitar solo ain't live. It was a backing track.
But months of touring America, singing in an American accent, would eventually lead Chaz into a radical change of direction.
Because I was singing, dance, dance, moondog tonight, oh mama, you're all right. And I remember thinking, they think I'm American, but I'm English, you know. So I started jotting down a few ideas about singing in my own accent and becoming myself, really.
He felt a fraud in the States singing in American accent, so we decided we'd sit down, try and write songs in the way that we speak.
And I remember ringing up Dave and I said, let's go out for a pint. I said, I've got an idea of writing songs about things that I know about and singing in my own accent. And yeah, he had a think, and we got together, and that was the start of Chaz and Dave.
If you were trying to find a theme which runs through at least the popular music of London throughout the centuries, the common denominator is drink, actually.
In the mid-1970s, there was an explosion of bands playing in pubs in London.
You'd walk through Kentish Town, Camden Town, walk from Chiswick to Putney. You would walk anywhere and you would pass 4 or 5 pubs in a single evening that were putting on, you know, pretty decent live music.
I said I gotta go away.
Dr. Feelgood, who were very, very tough, tight rhythm and blues band. And Ian Jury had his band Killed on the High Roads. Quite a few bands who would become famous later on had their roots in that pub circus. Eddie and the Hot Rods.
Do anything you wanna do.
Squeeze had origins in that world.
The pub rock thing, it was great because it was venues where people would go and play, and also it was the beginning of the punk thing, and it was the idea where you could just do it yourself. You can't go and play in a Swiss club. You might as well just go and play down the pub where at least they'll give you some beer or something.
The pub rock circuit was fine for bands just starting out, but for established professional musicians, it just didn't cut the mustard.
We did do 1 or 2, but they didn't want to pay no money. I mean, I remember playing one gig, the Open Anchor, I think that was in Islington, and me and Dave did it. I mean, the pub rock circuit was all right for, like, getting a band known, but there was no money in it. So we shied away from them. We found our own.
We didn't want to play in them rock and roll pubs. We wanted to find a pub that had a good atmosphere and build it up, and which we did. We did the Birdcage in Bethnal Green and Bishop Bonner, and we loved that.
Here we go. I got on the other night and what it done discover. The Lord's been around again to see me little brother.
We started doing the pub gigs to pay the rent. I mean, it was a way of earning money. So since I was born, you know, how do you earn money? You go and play the piano and people give you money. And so that is what I did. That's what I'm still doing.
Find a wife and settle down, she say. Brother, you know how it is, what with one thing.
They came out of London pub music, and I think one of the places where you learn how to communicate directly with people is in a pub. Working people letting their hair down on a Saturday night, and you have to communicate with them, and it's rough, but it's got humour.
I had a wash and shave and I went round for Tommy Glover to ask him if he fancied a quick and down the plover. He come to the door and said me missus might discover. You know how it is, Jack, with one thing and another.
Chaz and Dave's Rockney sound owes a lot to music hall and the songs they grew up with. Like Harry Champion's End of Me Old Cigar.
Why'd you throw the end away? I said, not on your life, it's the end of me old cigar. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah.
The art of the music hall singer really was to find songs that the public would take to straight away.
But I tickle the ladies' fancy with the end of me old cigar.
And Florrie Ford, she'd say, if they don't join in the chorus, by the 3rd time I get to it, I'll never use the song again.
And there she stands and shows the boys around the public bar, saying, look at the doctor's done for me with the end of his old cigar. That's the end of me.
Musical performers are happy performers. They make you feel happy, give you a smile on your face, and usually got a pint of beer to cheer you up as well.
The thing about the music hall was people lived very, very tough lives, and then it would all be washed away. by these songs.
I walk down Piccadilly and they think that I'm a star. It ain't because I'm handsome or I'm a la-di-da, but I tickle the ladies' fancy with the end of me old cigar.
Harry Champion was a true music hall legend.
We both knew a lot of them old-fashioned Harry Champion songs.
You really want to dance when he's singing.
Great songs with great lyrics.
His timing is absolutely fantastic.
Harry Champion was one of the last of the great 19th century Cockney music hall artists, and he sang these very, very catchy sing-alongs.
Well, I mean, his most famous ones are Any Old Iron, which my gran used to say about anything that wasn't worthwhile.
Oh, just a couple of weeks ago, me poor Uncle Bill went to kick the bucket and he left me in his will. The other night
These were popular songs with complicated lyrics that needed exceptionally precise delivery.
Sort of looked a dandy as they dangled on my chest. Just to flash it over, big walking around the back. The kids roaring off from in, they all began to shout. Any old iron, any old iron, any old iron. You look neat, talk about a treat.
And that's exactly what Chaz and Dave have done in their songs.
Mother phoned up last night, she was going spare. She was in the tent, mum pulling out her hair. Sisters caught in this scrap and look at tent. Father don't give the monkeys, and listen what he said. I don't care, yeah. Every got man here, I got my beer in the sideboard here. And mama sorted out and it comes round here.
I think one of the things about them is their technical ability at singing. Some of those fast things, it makes it all sound so easy. It just sounds so light. It just sounds like it's thrown away, and you don't realise how difficult it would be.
I'll tell you something else, he's never got a job. He hangs around the back of shop and a little son. Mama says, calm down, he's all right. But they're out there stalking in the front door.
Someone said we are deceptively simple or something. They meant our music. It sounds simple, but you try and do it.
Sideboard here and a sideboard there and a sideboard over there. Sing about the sideboard. And I don't give a dump, give a dump, give a dump, give a dump, give a dump. I don't give a monkeys, I don't care. Well, I don't care that your mama sorted out, because I don't care. Pick up down here.
That's Lonnie Donegan and Harry Champion combined, I suppose, with tongue-twisting things.
Mama sorted out if he comes round here. Mama sorted out sideboard here. Got my beer, mama sorted out. I don't care if he comes round here. Mama sorted, mama sorted, mama sorted, mama sorted, mama sorted, mama sorted, mama sorted out.
What a beautiful song. Marvellous stuff.
In the summer of 1979, more than 200,000 people turned up for one of the largest rock festivals that Britain had ever seen. Knebworth.
It was no big deal to me. It was just another gig. Number one, I weren't a fan of Led Zeppelin. Number two, I'd toured America not long before, so a big festival was nothing new to me.
There's just too many people to be scared of. You walked out on that stage, I don't know how many there were. Someone said there was 200,000, but it was packed anyway. We weren't nervous, but our manager said you played the whole set in 15 seconds. Maybe I might have been a bit of adrenaline going about. But the gig for us, I think it was good. I think we enjoyed it looking back on it.
Now I'm going back a few years.
Chaz and Dave had finally arrived and caught the attention of the nation. But it was in no small part thanks to a celebrated beer advert.
Funny glasses with a little piece of ice. Anything that comes with lemon in a slice. Fancy cocktails that are shaken and not stirred. Drinks with cherries in that make you look absurd. With your finger cocked to leave your friends impressed. Anything that ain't a pint of courage best. Mine's a pint of best.
I couldn't believe it when I saw this commercial for the first time, because it was a phrase that my gran used all the time on me, Gertje. Whenever I was taking liberties, she brought me up, and when I was taking liberties, Gertje.
It's an old-fashioned saying that my granddad used to say, my nan used to say,
Gertje.
Dave's dad used to say it.
But I swear that Chaz and Dave were getting spirit messages from my gran.
I think they did a competition where pubs could win Chaz and Dave for the night. People were desperate to get Chaz and Dave in the end. And the Orset Cock on the A13 in Essex won Chaz and Dave for the night. And I remember it was just the talk of Thurrock that Chaz and Dave were coming to town and they were doing the Orset Cock, which has got the function room of the Orset Cock. You couldn't get 40 people in it. I think they had about 400.
And it was so popular. The whole country was going, Goethe. We couldn't walk down the street. People shouting at you, Goethe, Kherson and all that.
But yeah, Goethe was the first top 20 hit.
A couple of blokes walked into the BBC today and they walked up to the boss and knocked on the door and said, "Excuse me, Gov, can we play our record on Top of the Pops tonight?" In his winning, smiling way, he turned around to them and he said, "Goethe." Now there's a word that I don't understand. I hear it every day from my old man. It may be cockney, rhyme, it's slang, it ain't in no school book.
It's a great thing to be on Top of the Pops because you were sure to send your record up with another few places next week.
But the show's producer didn't like one of the words in the song.
He said, "Why did you cut out the word cow son?" It was well, why? It's part of the song. He said, "Well, I've just been informed." He said, "My mother's just called me and she's informed me that it's an old-fashioned Victorian swear word."
Don't sound that bad to me even there. There's a cow and a son. What's it? I don't know. People get the ump over funny things. I think Chaz did it though. I think he couldn't stop himself.
When the kids are swinging on the gate, when the paper boys half an hour late, when the pigeons are pecking at his seeds, when the barker starts digging up his beans, Arsenal preaching, he's always been the same.
I was proud of the record. I was proud of the way I sang it. Proud of the playing in it. All three of us played great in it. It's a record to be proud of.
It wasn't long before Chaz and Dave were all over British television.
Chaz and Dave! Chaz and Dave!
Chaz and Dave.
Chaz and Dave!
Chaz and Dave.
Chaz and Dave!
Chaz and Dave.
Chaz and Dave!
It's the fabulous Chaz and Dave!
Chaz and Dave!
Chaz and Dave! Chaz and Dave!
There was a day, and I've got it on the calendar, we were actually on TV about 7 times in that day. It was all called it Chaz and Dave Day.
We did do a lot of telly. I mean, our manager didn't turn anything down. We were tired boys. We used to work.
It got to a point where our manager was just taking on everything. You know, there was no sort of, this is a better show than that, or this is more credible than that. If it earned money, get on it.
Do you remember doing breakfast time?
Yeah, I detested it, yeah. Yeah, I tried it, did it a couple of times. I said, that's one, that breakfast telly, even the sound of that really is a horrible sound to me, breakfast telly.
Coming up in the next 15 minutes on Breakfast Time, plenty of more Rabbit from Charles and Dave, the kings of Cockney Rock.
I mean, I'm surprised I can remember it. I remember looking at her legs, that's all I can remember. Yeah, she's a very nice lady, but no, I didn't like it.
Sitting beside me are our guests of the day, Chaz and Dave. They've just finished a successful tour of the country. Perhaps the most unlikeliest of pop stars.
I'm intrigued. Your accents are real and the way you dress is real. I mean, a lot of people expected it to be a put-on, a showbiz put-on.
What, the way we talk, you mean?
Well, and the way you dress. But I mean, the bother boots. Show us your bother boots.
Well, they ain't bother boots. These are dealer's boots. He's got Dr. Martens on, he has. Practical, really.
You're both wearing braces. I must ask you about your braces. Yeah. Why do you do that?
Hold the trousers up. Why do you
That's
do
a
that?
stupid question.
But do you hold your trousers up with braces when you're not appearing on TV, when you're not doing show? I mean, in ordinary life?
Of course we do, yeah.
I mean, you dress like that ordinarily.
What's that? Everyone wears a pair of trousers, don't they?
Does anybody outside London understand you?
Everybody understands.
I mean, there was a suggestion they ought to have subtitles underneath you.
It's daft, though. I mean, we've been to America. We've been everywhere seems to understand us. Why shouldn't we? Billy Connolly comes down here and he goes down a storm. Why shouldn't we go down good in Scotland? It's no different.
By December 1982, they hit the peak of their popularity, appearing in prime time on both the BBC's and ITV's biggest Christmas night shows.
We'd like to bring an old mate of ours to sort of sing and play guitar. Nice hand for Eric Clapton.
Come on, Eric, go on. Get on this song.
That was a good show. Because Eric hadn't been on the telly for 8 years then. No one could get him on the telly, he didn't want to know. But he come out for us. And it was good. And having Albert there as well, that was a good show.
I take you with me, baby, everywhere I go. If I can catch you for a minute, I know you take a chance with me.
I remember it very well, yeah. It was a lot of fun. My dad was there in the audience, and Chaz's mum was there as well, you know. And the thing I remember about that pub, it was a great atmosphere. Everybody was having a big knees up, you know.
They built the bar in the actual LWT studios. It was real booze, yeah. But they'd built, you know, so true to life, they built like a toilet door gentleman. But behind the toilet door, there was no gentleman there. It was like all props and bits of wood and, you know what I mean, where they stored stuff. But people are going, oh, where's the toilet after they've had a couple of pints? Gone round there and gone, oh, fuck it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was great. Hard work, but it was good. It was good fun.
Meanwhile, at the same time on the other side,
Christmas comes but once a year. It's just as well a time for all to have good cheer. It's that as well. Christmas comes but once a year. Full back in the belly full of beer. Relatives come from far and near. Well, you're gonna be a big candy. Wouldn't be without it. Wouldn't be without it. Ain't a doubt about it. Wouldn't be without it. Wouldn't be without a Christmas cheer. Especially around this time of year.
And that's quite a compliment. I remember when they were showing it, Ronnie Barker came and sat right next to me, sort of like to see what I thought, but me and Dave thought it was hilarious. That was great. It was a great accolade.
Chaz and Dave, with long-time drummer Mick Burt, enjoyed a string of top 20 hits in the 80s.
Ozzy's gone to Wembley, his knees have gone all trembly.
But there was much more to them than the comic songs suggested, and always real skill behind their performances.
Some people sing about poetry girls when they come from California.
As artists, I think they're very important because they are uniquely London sounding, but they also have invented entirely their own sound. Their vocal harmonies, when they sing together, is completely unique.
Give me a London girl every time. I gotta find one, I've made up my mind.
It's their own sound. Chaz and Dave are original. There's nobody else sounds like them. You know, they're really amazing.
I want a London girl.
Chaz and Dave are totally identified with London in a way that almost nobody else is.
And you know you can trust them.
They'll darn your socks, wash and mend your trousers when you bust them.
It's often very comical, but it's got a great deal of integrity. It's genuinely part of the folk culture of one of the great cities of the world, and it's part of the working class culture of this city. There's nothing fake about it. It's good entertainment.
I've gotta find one, I've made up my mind. Give me a London girl every time. I want a London girl.
Oh, baby, give me a London. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they slot so sort of perfectly into that London tradition of music. There's music hall, There's the terraces of White Hart Lane. There's the pubs of North London. There's everything. It's London in microcosm in their songs.
Give me a London girl every time. I've got to find one, I've made up my mind. Give me a London girl every time. I want a London girl.
Yeah, good singing.
Chaz and Dave have always been a touring band.
Oh, lovely old job.
Good help. I'm still around.
And the 90s saw them on gruelling tours in Britain, Australia and the United States.
There's not another base in England that's done as many gigs as this.
How many's
the
it done?
gospel truth. Well, no one's worked like Chaz and Dave. No one's worked like we have since 1972.
Look at that old work.
How many gigs has that done?
I'd like to count them up. It'd be impossible to count them up. There'd be no one, if anyone says they have got a bass done more gigs than this, well, I think they want beaten with monopoly sticks and in the 45-minute underwater inspection the ponds and lock gates with a gas stove around their neck. And it's as simple as that.
Dave's grandparents were travellers, and he spent a lot of time maintaining the old traditions.
My granddad, he was born in a tent, and all his brothers and sisters as well. I've always had sort of a fascination for this kind of thing. I've always done it really, mucked around with horse-drawn stuff. Mainly it's mostly gypsy wagons and like horse-drawn carts. I've done a lot of work on it. I've made all new furniture inside, and I carved it all, and I've painted it. It was down to the bare wood, made the steps. It's a load of work. I should go away on a tour, come back and get straight in here and get straight on it. There's nowhere around here, there's nobody about here that does this sort of thing around this way, so they always come to me. Right, that's that one. It's like a spiritual thing to me. I loved it even when I was a kid. I started when I was about 15, and I learned it ever so quick. You only learn things that you like to do, don't you? If you don't like it, you'll never learn it. My missus, she learned to read music. She was having piano lessons. She said, "I'll never be any good." I said, "You will, but it doesn't matter if you don't. As long as you have fun trying." And that's what music should be. Have fun doing it.
Now, a lot of people say to me,
As the 90s went on, the touring duo all but disappeared from our screens. But in 2003, they re-emerged into the limelight on Jules Holland's Hootenanny.
please welcome Chaz and Dave.
It marked the start of a renewed interest in their work from a younger, more fashionable audience.
It started with Jules Holland having us on his New Year's Hootenanny.
It was a great show to do. And Jules is a great bloke anyway. He likes all kinds of stuff.
He's always been fans of ours, and I love him, Jules Holland. He got us on his show, and like it was to say, like, oh, if it's on his show, they must be good. And everybody who was on it absolutely loved us.
London's very own Chaz and Dave. They are talented musicians.
And when he interviewed all the people, they all said they really loved us. I think it sort of gave them, you know, they're acceptable. Chaz and Dave are acceptable. We can say it.
How much I really love Chaz and Dave.
So do I. That's why they're here. Does that make you madly jealous?
Yeah.
Are you going to become furious?
I am furious now.
Yes.
Can you see?
Yes, I can see.
It's in my eyes,
It's seething.
mainly.
I'm very frightened. I'm going to move back here.
To see Chaz and Dave again after marvellous stuff.
They invented all that music.
They did indeed, and it's great he's representing London music because they're for real.
Chaz and Dave, are you familiar with them at all?
Chaz and Dave, absolutely. Worship them. What
Okay.
a corking song that was.
It changed a lot of people's way of thinking about it. Suddenly, we're respected, you know, rather than a couple of novelty songs.
We did enjoy that. It just goes to show different people like what we do. That's nice, isn't it?
Back in the mid-70s, the pair played as session musicians on a Labby Sifri album. In the 90s, their playing was picked up and sampled by a whole new generation of influential musicians.
I remember doing it because my bass part's on that M&M thing. Jim Sullivan sung that to me, I think. Go, bum, 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 wherever it was, and I just done that.
And that is the bit that got sampled by Eminem on his first record, I found out after. My Name Is, I think, isn't it? And it's a big hit for him, but he got it from there.
Hi, my name is what? My name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi, my name is what? My name is what? My name is it's named Sadie.
But it's all over the shop now, I've been told. It's on not just the M&M thing, it's on other things as well.
Another endorsement of their unsung cool came from Libertines frontman and boyhood fan Pete Doherty.
I think when Pete Doherty expressed a bit of liking for Chaz and Dave, I think his punters started to listen to us as well. So we captured a few of them that way. Because there's no two ways about it. He was a good, bit of PR man for us.
We went and supported them at the Brixton Academy, and their manager come over, he went, "They're so in awe of you two." He said, like that, they're all sort of, well, that's great. Pete was sort of quite out of it. He came on and did a couple of songs and fell all over the stage. But he's been to see us since, and he's behaved himself. So hopefully I ain't heard no news is good news.
I remember when they supported the Libertines, and it was like, oh yeah, they supported the Libertines. I don't think really a lot of people actually really were into Chaz and Dave, you know? But they had the crowd right over, you know? Everyone loved it, everyone was fucking into it. It was fucking good music. It's rich, that tradition. And they're instilled, that richness is in them, it courses through them. It's a genuine thing, and they get up on stage and they do, it's just them, you know? The melodies, the words, it's perfect. Just like the Clash, just like the Smiths, just like Keats. Because the music meant so much to me. Everything I thought about London and my family history, they were tuned into. Even little lines about, if it wasn't for the houses in between, it just makes me think of my nan and my dad.
Right, okay. A second set.
Not right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
5 minutes on an emotional moment.
Right, okay.
This is a character, this isn't what he's really like.
Shit, are you upset?
I don't know. I'm talking about Chaz and Dave.
Are they still alive?
Oh, fuck off, man.
Listen, I wasn't...
That's all from Newsnight tonight. Do come back tomorrow. We'll end tonight's rabbiting with Chaz and Dave. With classics like the Sideboard song, they've been a feature of British pop music since the 1970s. But today they announced they're splitting up. Dave Peacock has decided to quit following the death of his wife. Good night.
Where am I gonna find you when I need you? Can't you tell me where you're going to? Darling, don't you know I'm gonna miss you? All I've ever cared about is you. The only thing...
After years of touring, Chaz and Dave have finally called it a day. Chaz will continue with his own band, but Dave has had enough of life on the road.
My dear mate, he loves his music, he loves playing, but he don't like being on the road.
I didn't really want to go up and down the motorway no more.
I said, entirely up to you, whatever you want to do. But no, there won't be another tour.
It's been great. Seen the world. Took my wife around with me to lots of interesting places. Luckily, she saw some great places.
Have you had fun?
Yeah, loved it. Loved it, yeah, great.
The legacy and the body of work is so wonderful. It'd be a great shame if they didn't come back. I get the feeling they will, in some form, in some way. I mean, I'll be honest, I wanted to book them for my 50th, so if they have quit, I'm gutted.
You know, I think the question that you'd ask any great musician is, can you make people dance? Can you make people cry with your music? And Chaz and Dave could really do those things. No Pleasing You is a great song.
If I can sum up what I was aiming for, I achieved it on Ain't No Pleasing You. A serious song sung in my own accent. A Cockney song being taken seriously.
Never cared about me, now I've seen the light. Oh, darling, there ain't no pleasing you.
To me, by a country mile, their best song is Ain't No Pleasing You. It's the best expression of a man's inability to express himself. That just pours out of that song, and that song breaks your heart every time you hear it.
There ain't no pleasing you. You only had to say the word. You knew I'd do it.
I can't say it to you, love, so I can play it. Break your heart.
But you went and blew it.
It's great when you play and you look at people's face and they know the words of the song and they're singing away. It is a good buzz.
I love people's appreciation. It means a lot to me.
I was just saying to Chaz, imagine walking in a pub or somewhere and hearing this noise that the three of us was making. And I know, as a punter, I'd go, God, that sounds good.
If anybody don't like Chaz and Dave, I think, well, there's got to be something defective in you or something ain't right. You ought to go and get yourself looked at. If you're not a Chaz and Dave fan, there's something wrong with you.
Thanks a lot, it's been great, thank you.
Getting On returns.
Let's just have a crack, shall we?
Well, I haven't been to a training session. Can you not get it back down? No, Kim.